This thing working? Hello? Is it still working? I don't know if it's working or not.
After 26 years of marriage and raising 2 kids, empty nest season is coming at us faster than we anticipated. So we're doing what any normal married couple would do. We bought a bus. Now we're renovating it into a tiny home on wheels. We named him Bob, and we're figuring it out as we go, just like we did with parenting. I'm Trish.
I'm Steve.
And together,
we're Team Rawls.
Hey everybody, we are finally putting down the subfloor. We've decided to do a floating floor, which means just putting the foam down and then the plywood on top of that, instead of putting down a framework and then putting the foam board in between the framework and then nailing the plywood to that. We're gonna get started on that and hopefully be on our floor plan very soon. We're taking a break because Steve is going to run to the hardware store and get some spray foam to put in the little cracks in the corners before we put any plywood down to make sure we don't have any air leaks, hot or cold. So we're using 3/4 inch plywood that has this tongue and groove feature. So it'll help cut down on, the leakage of cold or hot air.
Well, just need to get it over to the doorway so I can cut it. It doesn't have to go all the way out.
Well, we ran into a slight problem putting the first board in. We decided to err on the side of being too tight. And when we got it in, it was definitely too tight. We had a lot of trouble getting it back out. So Steve's trimming it down. Hopefully it'll fit great the next time. It's perfect. The only thing we had to cut out was this piece right here. And that's to allow us access to the gas tank. We decided to take a break and celebrate.
Cheers.
Because we got our first piece of wood on.
Woo! How about that?
And it's been like 24 hours. Yeah, we thought we could do this all in one weekend.
Well, we don't have enough weights to weight it down, so that's part of the problem.
Okay.
Whose idea was this anyway?
So on our quest to find things to weight down the foam board so the glue will stick, we pretty much depleted all options and have resorted to getting a microwave that's still in its packaging.
Down in the barn.
It's been out of the barn for like 3 years. We've never used it.
Yeah.
Never unpackaged it. We can't put everything down today, but we did decide we'd go ahead and cut all the foam board pieces so they're ready. And then we got up to the front where there's this crazy, weird piece, and we decided to make a template out of cardboard. So that way we can just take that out, put it on the last piece of foam board and later the plywood, and make one smooth, cohesive piece to put on there. Here we go. Tip, if your glue is coming out kind of hard and it's just really hard to push it out with that caulking gun, set it out in the sun or bring it in the house, let it warm up, and then it'll come out way easier.
that's about all I can do today. I got 3 sheets of foam board down, glued down with all of the weights that I could find. I even have cinder blocks. Oh, what is that? That's a part off the pickup truck that I'm waiting to put back on. But it's heavy, so it works.
Okay, so it's been a week since we started working on the floor, and we decided to stop and make a public service announcement. We thought we could do the floor in a week, or no, in a weekend, because we thought we were choosing the easier, faster process, the floating floor, if you will, where you just glue the foam board down, then you glue the plywood on top of that. But we've run into some problems. The first problem we ran into with the first piece of foam board we put down was the glue type. We didn't find the exact glue that somebody recommended, but we talked to the people at the big box home improvement store.
I think we can say Home Depot. Yeah. The knowledgeable guy at Home Depot told me that this stuff
Loctite, something or another.
works just as well as what I was looking for. One of the things you have to keep in mind when you're looking for glue for foam board is that it doesn't have a reaction to the foam board and basically eat it up. So you need a glue that works well with foam board.
And this is approved for foam board.
And
it
this
just
yes, this is
didn't
definitely approved for foam board, but I would not recommend you use that. So it did not stick well, even with all of the weights we put on it. It just didn't grab. Ah, can you hear that? Yeah, that's what we got. I wouldn't buy that again. This is the stuff that I was looking for, and this is what you want to buy if you're looking for the correct glue. This is the stuff.
That's the stuff. Yeah.
That's the stuff right there. And it's in a bigger tube. So one tube of this will definitely do the foam board to the floor of the bus, and one tube will do the plywood to the foam board. Make sure that you buy a quality caulking gun.
Yes. We now have like 4 caulking guns.
4, yeah. So for the big tubes, you obviously have to have a big caulking gun. This caulking gun, you can see, has some little ribs inside here. Don't buy this. There's a little mechanism in the handle here, and when it's under pressure, that little pin in here will break. So these are junk.
So we went through a couple of those.
Yeah.
Then what's the one that you actually
got?
So
this is a much better one. They look very similar, but this one doesn't have the ridges. It's solid, but it has a little different setup in the back here. This is much more heavy duty, much better caulk gun. So
yeah, because what happened was he got halfway through caulking a sheet of plywood, and the caulk gun broke.
Yes.
So imagine he's out in the bus by himself, because I'm in the office working. He's reaching in and putting the glue in there, and halfway through gluing the floor underneath it, the caulking gun breaks. So he came into my office. I thought he was like really going to lose his marbles. I had to take away all these sharp objects in the house.
Yes, I was very frustrated because that meant I had to go back to the hardware store and find another caulking gun, which meant I had to get all that glue up. I couldn't leave the glue down. So I was frantically trying to clean this glue up so it wouldn't harden while I was gone.
Okay, so the next issue we ran into was fitting the actual sheet of plywood into the bus. So we've heard that you need to cut it so it's really tight, and that's exactly what we did. But when you get into the bus, we have this lip that goes kind of about 10 inches up off the floor. There's this lip that sticks out, and we couldn't get it below that. It's hard to explain, and it was quite comical watching us try to get the sheet of plywood in there. It was kind of one of those like geometry things that we didn't think about beforehand.
Yeah.
So that was an issue.
Yeah.
But we figured it out. And the last 2 sheets, what he did was he actually cut a little strip off the side to give a little bit more leeway to get those sheets in there. We'll just cover that up with spray foam. It'll be underneath cabinetry and stuff like that. So we're not worried about it being, sacrificing the quality or whatever.
It won't affect the structure.
Yeah.
Structural integrity, I guess.
Yeah. Now, the third issue was having enough weight to put on the boards. We looked all over our property. We had some old concrete bags.
You need a lot of
old mortar.
Yeah,
you need a lot of weight.
You need a lot of weight to hold it down.
And then it needs to sit for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So really, we could only do like 1 or 2 boards at a time, 1 or 2 pieces of foam board at a time, then 1 or 2 pieces of board at a time.
Plywood.
So that's another reason why it took us all week. So just anticipate that if you're going to do this process thinking it's going to be quicker, you better have a lot of weight around.
A lot of bags of sand or a lot of heavy objects that you can put on the plywood and on the foam board, so that glue can be squished down and have 24 hours to cure.
To cure and harden.
Yeah.
In retrospect, I think we probably would have just done the framing out and then put the foam in the middle.
Would have been faster.
It would have been faster. We probably could have done that in a weekend.
Yeah.
Because there's no gluing and waiting and all that. So anyway, just word to the wise.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Before we close out this video, we wanted to tell you something, or talk about something we've been kind of tossing around, and that's like kind of what to do when we get to our destinations after we get the bus done.
Yeah, because we got this big 30-foot bus, but when we get somewhere, how do we get around once we park the bus? If if we like want to go to explore a place like maybe Yellowstone or something and we can't get the bus in, or if we park
just running to get groceries or just kind of tooling around,
go to dinner or
being
something.
A little bit more nimble. So we've tossed around ideas like getting a little Suzuki Samurai or bicycles or something, but just there's a lot of
So we decided to buy a bike.
Actually, we decided to get 2. But this we will tell you about in another video. Until then, we just want to wish you all a happy new year, and if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next year.